The problem is we have rooms called computer labs. Right? Every pocket that your kids have when they walk into school is a computer lab. We just force them to go down the hall, which wastes 5 or 10 minutes on either side, so your teacher can't get done what they need to get done, and they have to schedule. And so I'm not a big fan of this, although, there's nothing wrong with that space. I just don't think that's the model for the future of education. Now, Chris, who you just saw a second ago, would say, we need great media labs. We need kind of like amazing Pixar level. Not this stuff. Right? I know we do it for attendance stuff, and we do it for testing, but the truth is, we don't need to send them to school to do that. Outsource that to the library. Outsource that to somebody and get somebody to build a big computer warehouse. And once a month, send your kids there. And then figure out what to do with that space that's empowered. This is a school in Holland. That hallway, by the way, is a hallway, but it's also another classroom. And by the way, these huge glass doors, so the kids are never separated from their classmates when they have to go to the hallway. Right? We use the hallway as punishment and travel. And yet it's 30% of every building is unused space. Elevator shafts, hallways, etc. So when they do estimates of how many square feet per kid, they can't use that space. So every square foot that's not for learning is wasted. Right? And so if we don't use our hallways, and we only think in terms of code officials and sight lines, security, so principal can stand here and look down hallway, hallway, hallway. And they go, that's my school's really efficient. I carry a big sight line as opposed to a bat. Right? Those hallways ought to be learning environments. Right? Some of you ought to be sitting on the ground right now, Googling all this stuff, going, forget him, let's go learn. Right? This ought to be the learning space. Forget the digital stuff. I mean, really. Eye contact, body language, learning how to, where your feet ought to be. You ought to be, essentially down a 3-point stance and speaking stance because, right, shoulders to feet. But how many people are really taught that? Well, they can't if they're not doing this sort of thing. Every kid in America is going to get to go to college soon. What are they going to do once they're there? Right? And so right now our promise is active, go to college. The problem is once everybody's there, what are we going to do in high schools now? If it's guaranteed and underwritten, what are we going to do? I want a job. I want you to have a job. So we better figure out something really cool to do. And I think it has to do with them being active producers. Learner Center, by the way, isn't just the kids. It's every single human being in that building. If every adult is not an actively, professionally developing, ongoing, no apologies, 24/7 learner, there's a problem. Your expertise is noble. It got you in the door. Now stop making it the point. Same to me. And I don't mean that pejoratively to you. I mean, our expertise got us in the door. Now what are we going to do to prove that we deserve to stay? Robin Hood Foundation did a library initiative. Basically said, let's take all the public libraries that are suffering in schools around New York City and redesign them. I don't know about you, a kid wants to be in that room. It begs the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe step. Right? I mean, this is chase the rabbit down the rabbit hole of choice. You want them to read? Give them a great entryway. So they can't get out. Here's my problem. I got really angry. Because I knew at a certain point in time that black curtain was going to drop over his educational life, and I would get one question a day at the dinner table, I was lucky, and 2 meetings with his teachers a year if I wanted to go. And until kindergarten, I had unfettered access to his learning path. Not the scores, not the cute pictures on the fridge. How he. We're moving here. My wife's going to be middle school director at Columbus Academy. We're pretty blessed to have that opportunity for our children, and I'm angry. Not because the school isn't wonderful and the people aren't wonderful, because I don't get to see him grow up as a learner. Right? Now, I exaggerate to make a point, but I also wonder what happens, not when I watch him, but the kid turns around and says, Papa, check this out. Because that's what he does at home with people around the world, and what I assume my daughter, who can't even talk yet, will also do. And I just think it's a different orientation when the teacher goes, it's not about me, you tell me. Right? Because that's what my students do back, is when they want to talk about poetry, we go find a world-leading expert in poetry, we do one-on-one mentoring sessions. That's how we do it, because I'm not smart enough to do it. I can't give them enough. Class of 2024, and ultimately, they're going to be decision makers within a blink of our lifetime. And I want them to be proud of our effort. I don't want to win the political argument today. I want them to be proud in hindsight. If you have any questions, more importantly, if you have better information, or just want to be in a conversation, I'm honored to be here. It's very serendipitous. It happened to be in Columbus where I'm moving. I look forward to meeting folks, and I appreciate your time. I hope I didn't go too far over given our start. But thank you very much, and look forward to seeing you out there on the web.